Alright guys, so we are doing the second review of the weekend, and today we're going to be talking about the Miseducation of Cameron Post.
All that's left is your signature, and we're good to go. Now you're officially a disciple of God's promise. Welcome.
Fuck. Now, Miseducation of Cameron Post is a movie that I am surprised is not getting more buzz, considering how much buzz the movie Boy Erased is getting. So Cameron Post is based off a book by the same title of a girl growing up who is gay and then ultimately ends up being sent to a conversion therapy camp. Now the book goes in extreme lengths and details. It basically chronicles most of her life from I almost think the age of 12 all the way up until the point where she's sent off to this camp. Now the movie, on the other hand, just really hones in on the events that lead to her going to the camp and being at the camp. Like, the camp itself is really where the focus is, and I can understand why that would be what you would want to do, because otherwise it would be such a long movie. The book is like this thick, so I can understand that, and obviously that is where the bulk of the development of what's going on is, though I would have enjoyed a little bit more context going into it. Like, I felt good watching it because I knew everything that led into the moments, and I'd read the book, so I knew everything. I knew who the characters were, I knew the history, but I feel like if you hadn't read the book, it might leave you with a little bit of confusion as to who certain characters are, what happened to her parents, and just different things like that. Now, I'm not saying that Boy Erased is a bad movie, I'm just saying that this movie came out first. It's dealing with the same subject matter, just mostly from a female point of view. I know a lot of people are saying that this is just kind of typical when it's involving female sexuality. It is oftentimes pushed aside. It's way more common to see gay men in things, and those movies tend to get way more critical acclaim. And for this being a movie focusing on a gay woman, it does a really good job not doing that thing that a lot of other movies about gay women do, where they almost have to throw in this stuff to make it I don't know, more appealing to straight dudes. I feel like they put in exactly what they needed to in this movie to be faithful to the book, and then honestly just kept it very real. There was nothing overt. It was all just very honest, and the focus ended up just being the experience at the conversion therapy camp. And I think that this is a very important topic to discuss, because with certain powers that be, this is still something that people want. This is still something that people want to send their kids to. This is still something that people think is a valid option to your kids being gay. And it's just incredibly heartbreaking to know that this movie is based off of very real people who are being convinced that there is something incredibly wrong with them and being treated like they're criminals, essentially. Now, for the most part, I think they stuck pretty good to the source material of the book when they're talking about the conversion therapy, and I think that comes down to the really incredible writing of, I believe her name's Emily Danforth, the original author, and her research. But I know the creators of the film and the actors actually went and talked to people who are survivors of conversion therapy to get their opinions, to get their thoughts, to get their firsthand experiences so that they can better understand what's going on. And I think that translates to the movie really well, and they keep the tone of the book moving into the movie really well. So as you're reading and as you're watching, that there's just this sense that everything going on is ridiculous, and it's almost comically ridiculous, but then you realize the situation is also so incredibly terrifying and sad. There's this moment when she tries to tell the main counselor lady, it's oh, it's okay, you can just call me Cam. And instead of her being oh, that's so kind of you for letting me use a nickname for you, it's just Cameron's already an incredibly masculine name, and a shortening of that is not going to help anything with your gender confusion. And it's just this snap moment. 1 minute everybody's cool, everybody's chill, welcoming, and then it's just snap. And that's not going to be the only time they're going to really address and talk about things that conversion therapists try to latch onto to explain why you're the way that you are. And then when you watch and you read the book and you listen to people who've actually gone through it talk, everything that is the reason why you're gay conflicts with why something made someone else gay. So, one guy, the fact that you were too close with your father is the reason why you're gay. But then for another kid, it's you weren't close enough to your father, so you're now seeking out that male attachment in other ways. For girls who might be a little bit masculine, they say, oh, you're confusing your ideation with wanting to be more like that guy with actually wanting to be with that guy. But then for someone else, it's, no, you're confusing your homosexual feelings towards that woman for just idolizing and wanting to be more like that woman. You want people to see you the same way that you see her. So you just get this impression that like no matter what you tell them is going to be the contributing factor for why you're the way that you are. And they'll use any and all type of mental gymnastics to validate this. So it's comical and it's funny when you think of it from that standpoint, but then it gets incredibly terrifying and sad and heartbreaking when you realize that these people are stuck in this situation through no control of their own. They have no way to escape it. And that even if the camp says, yeah, you've shown progress, you are good, I think you're cured, your parents can still be like, no, I think you're still too effeminate, you're staying. Like, it would be so heartbreaking to feel like you put in all the work, made genuine changes, really convinced yourself that you didn't have the SSAs, the same-sex attractions anymore, only to have someone be like, it's not good enough, you have to stay. And this is why it's being compared to a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for, you know, gay teens, which ironically, one of the books that is currently being used as a tripod is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's just that sense of hopelessness that you have instilled in you while you're there, that there's just nothing you can do to make the situation better, that your care is always going to be in someone else's hands. And that's why there's this moment where Cameron's talking to someone and, you know, she says, you know, I trust them to like not drive the bus off the road. I trust them to feed me, but I don't trust them with myself. I don't trust them with my emotional well-being or my mental well-being, and what's happening here is essentially it's emotional abuse, and that's exactly what it is. This is basically a bunch of kids being psychologically and mentally abused into thinking that there's something inherently wrong with them. And then luckily the movie does have that breaking point moment where she realizes after she had made a bit of a genuine attempt to fix herself that the people there have no idea what they're doing. They're just making it up as they go along. They have no answers and none of what they're doing is legitimate. And that is such a terrifying realization for her. And undoubtedly is a terrifying realization to anybody who's had to experience that situation in real life. And there's just this like one heartbreaking moment where she says, you know, I'm tired of feeling disgusted with myself. And that begs the question of like, why are you in a situation where you're made to feel disgusted with yourself when you've done nothing wrong? In terms of the performances, I thought everybody did a really incredible job bringing the characters to life. I love how the trio come together in the camp and they're basically there to like support one another and just to help each other through the ridiculousness of what they're all dealing with. You see moments where people who seem like they're the most reformed have their moments of complete failure, and it just lends to the idea that the whole situation is just bull. Yeah, overall, I think they did an incredible job with this movie. The tone that they managed to elicit in this, like I said, that back and forth between the like hilarity, ridiculousness of the situation while also being completely heartbreaking and terrifying comes together in such a nice way. And I think it deals with this incredibly important and serious topic in a really great way. So I'm pretty sure it's available now on all like kind of like paid streaming platforms, and I definitely recommend giving it a go. So that is gonna do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all later.